Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and you guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And I guess the biggest piece of news today is going to be what Larry Wheels just put up. It got linked to me immediately of him having an accident in the gym. Now, God bless him. I was almost a hater at one time with Larry, but he's turned me into a fan because I just enjoy watching the dude. I don't care if he's abusing insane, copious amounts of drugs because he is. He is going to die young. But he's just so freakishly strong that I can't not watch. You can't not watch when you're a lifter. You just kind of go, is this dude for real? And you know he is because he's using calibrated plates. You see meet results. It's like, no, he really is that strong. But I mean, can you imagine being so strong that when something goes wrong with your deadlift, you get catapulted through the air? Because that's how much tension you have built up inside your body like a big spring. Pretty much slingshotted him off the ground. It's like, Jesus Christ. Man, be careful, bro. I'm going to pray for him. But just, I'm going to flip it in for those who haven't seen it. It's like, damn. Alrighty then. So let me go ahead and put on my plus five hat of speechcraft. Lovingly called my plus five hat of autism by many of you, and let's talk about this. And that's the interesting thing when people see a lot of these ridiculously strong lifters, you almost have to think of the fact that at a certain threshold, sorry, I'm getting all tongue tied, their muscles and tendons and everything else are basically like big springs, because as you strength train, your body learns to store and compress energy, and you get efficient at recruiting things in such a way that you're just more and more explosive. But that also requires you to be able to store energy in things, in muscle tissue, in tendons. You have to learn how to brace and get extremely tight. I mean, when you start talking about anybody who can deadlift 800 plus pounds, right? When you start talking about strength levels in that range, and I'm not talking about partials, I'm talking about for the full range of motion pulling from the floor, you start getting into that range, you're essentially dealing with a human body that is able to just store and compress an enormous amount of energy, because that's what you're looking at. And that really is what's happening, because you don't have a stretch reflex on a deadlift, right? You're having to pull from a dead stop. Whereas with a squat, right, you can compress it down like a big spring and then bounce it back up. There's a myotatic reflex, there's a stretch reflex involved. You can store extra energy from the weight itself. When you deadlift that type of weight, you have to build that energy. You have to build that energy yourself just through bracing and tightness, because you don't have anything externally to compress you and store it into your muscle tissue. And it's a different beast. That's one of the reasons that the recovery curve is different on a deadlift, particularly a heavy deadlift. So when you see someone like a Larry who's at that level, I mean, what do you have on there, like 930, 940, something in that range. I remember counting the plates, quick count of those red plates, those 25 kilo plates, and it's somewhere in that ballpark. Somewhere in that ballpark. At this point, do we even care anymore? Once you're above 900, man, I'm not even counting, we're not even counting pounds anymore. We're just counting plates. It's fucking ridiculous. But when you think about that in terms of the amount of energy that your body has to store and generate within that fraction of a second right before you pull that weight off the floor, you are like a big, massive spring at that point. And so when he started blacking out, because that's what happened, it looked like, and I could be wrong, it looked like he did start to black out a little bit. That's what I gathered watching it. Because of just the intra-abdominal pressure and everything, his blood pressure probably went up and he started blacking out. And again, understandable. I mean, you're talking about being in the middle of deadlifting 900 plus pounds. Again, you think in terms of the amount of blood pressure involved, it's a lot. That sort of thing. When you think about the fact that G-force and stuff knocks people out, I mean, a heavy enough deadlift like that, when you're moving weights like that, it can happen every now and then without real warning, right? Without you getting much warning. If your blood pressure is already high, you took some stims, you're psyched up, too much psychological arousal, and you grab that weight and pull it, and then you start grinding, and if anything goes slow, what happens? As you continue to grind, your blood pressure is going to spike even higher, and it can knock you out. And he essentially, I think that's more or less what he did, because I've seen this stuff happen before. He basically knocked himself out. Just from the amount of force he was lifting, knocked himself out. Well, the problem is that now that you've got that much tension, you've got that weight up in the air already with that momentum behind it, that much tension built into your body, and the weight's going to come down. And it's pretty much just going to bounce you over. I mean, again, kind of like a slingshot. It bounced him. He bounced over that bar, and it's just like you got to be careful, guys. I mean, I am all about strength sports. I love heavy lifting. I love lifting heavy ass weights. But this goes to show you guys that what happens when you reach a certain threshold, when you're lifting a certain amount of weight. People talk about tendons or whatever. No, guys, there are way other things that you got to think about. Way different things you have to think about. In this case, you've got to think about stuff like stored energy in the body. You got to think about everything from intra-abdominal pressure to blood pressure involved. And, again, realizing that when you're pulling weights like that, yeah, you can black out. And you get slingshotted over the bar and you end up hitting your face on the floor. And, then you ruin your pretty powerlifter face. And then, you got all sorts of problems. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting to watch. And it was just, when you do watch the way that he went over, though, I think that's fascinating. And I don't mean to make such a fascinating thing out of someone like Larry, who is a legitimately crazy, crazy strong dude. Flying like that, but it's interesting to look at it and observe it from a perspective of saying what just went happened, what just went wrong there, because he just bounced over the bar. But again, it does go to show you what sort of forces are involved. A lot of people out there who start lifting and they think doing okay, they're up to 300, 400 pound deadlift. You need to understand the enormity of the difference here, right? I mean, the forces involved, the stuff inside the body and the pressure and everything and the tension that you store, you're in a different world at that point. And again, just watching that happen. But actually, I hope he's okay. I hope he's not hurt. I hope he didn't get injured from it. Probably after that, when you black out from something like that, that can be signs of what's going on with your training. It might be time to take a deload. Might be time to just take the weekend off and just relax and just chill, get your head straight, bring your cortisol levels down, get your blood pressure down. I mean, because that's pretty serious stuff. Again, when you're lifting weights at that level and something goes wrong to where you pretty much miss it and are blacking out, I mean, you have pushed yourself to the bleeding edge, right? He's pushed himself to the absolute bleeding edge at that point. And, it might be time for him to just say, I'm just going to take the weekend off. I'm going to chill. I'm going to go get laid. I'm going to relax and just maybe have a good time. Just take it easy for a few days, Larry. That's what I would personally recommend at that point. Come back. You'll be good to go next week. And I hope he's actually not hurting anyway. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.